Hey guys, it's Yishan here. Today I'm coming at you guys with my Phantom Rage quote-unquote perfect Gren Maju deck. Now what do I mean by perfect? Well, I mean that this is an ideal version of Gren Maju. If this could be played in the current metagame, it would be a very strong deck. I'm not saying it can be played in the current metagame due to all the combo, but if it could be played in the metagame, I would consider Gren Maju a very, very strong deck because I've always felt that Gren Maju plays best, at least the going second versions play best when you don't need to run a lot of hand traps because that means all your cards are gas. However, in the current combo format, that might not be feasible, although this deck still can break boards even without hand traps. So we've got post-Phantom Rage, we got some new inclusions. Let's go through the deck. I'll tell you guys my thoughts. First, we've still got 3 Gren Maju. One of the tried and true namesake cards of the deck, my favorite card, works pretty well in this deck. You know, you're just putting a bunch of rank 8s and this guy is sort of your finisher. So of course, not much to say about him. 3 Gizmek, this sort of makes the deck go round. It gives you a consistent beater, powers up your Gren Majus. Don't have much to say about him either. He's just really good. 3 Eater of Millions, really like him in this deck because you are able to put pressure and get rid of things that you might not be able to get rid of. So really nice piece. Also helps buff your Gren Maju. See that. All right, first Phantom Rage card. We've got one of 2, Zoo King Alpha. Now this card is absolutely insane, and I designed this deck around Zoo King Alpha because not only can you special it, so this card is a design going second card, it can also bounce monsters your opponent controls to your hand. Very similar to Fairy Tail Luna, so we've got this whole Fairy Tail Luna Kaiju package here to do a lot of board breaking, board negation, bouncing, summoning, bouncing, summoning. Basically, if you have less attack on your field, you can special the Alpha, and it can bounce itself or like a Bigfoot or a Thunderbird to the hand to return some of your opponent's monsters to the hand. So really powerful card. Hopefully this card drops down in price. Right now it's about $65. That's why I'm doing a dueling book deck profile, because I don't really want to pay that much money, but I wanted to get this deck profile out to you guys. So that's how Zoo King Alpha works. Fairy Tail Luna, maybe a card you all are less familiar with, but a really strong synergy with Kaijus. She's the other normal summon in the deck besides Gren Maju, and she's able to search a copy of herself as well as target a face-up monster your opponent controls. And this is a quick effect, by the way, and it can bounce herself and that monster if your opponent does not have a monster with their same name in their deck or extra deck, right? So these combo really well with Kaijus because usually your opponent's not playing Kaijus, and you can Kaiju anything and then return it to your hand. And not only when you do that, you know, you get lots of extra cards in your hand to make your dangers more live, more likely to be summoned if that's something you want. So this sort of Kaiju Luna Zoo King Alpha adds an extra normal summon, adds extra rank 8 capabilities. So that's what I'm doing here. Now I'm running a full 6 Kaijus here. These are just the best level 8 Kaijus. Doggerine is the other level 8 Kaiju. However, it has too much attack for my taste. 3000 attack, there's not much that can beat it. Whereas at least with Galdara, you can beat it with your Alpha or a Bigfoot. So pretty clutch there, as well as your Thunderbird. So that's why I run these 3. And actually I like running a ton of Kaijus because, you know, if you open Kaiju plus Alpha or Kaiju plus Luna, you're going to be in a good situation to break any board that your opponent makes. Right, moving on, we've got the final to round out some extra level 8s. We've got these generic dangers, 3 danger Bigfoot, 3 danger Thunderbird. Really work really well in this deck, and they actually have a really high success rate because the Luna add extra cards to your hand, because Fairy Tail Luna can search herself when she's normal summoned and bounce herself. So she's adding a ton of cards to your hand so that your Bigfoot and your Thunderbird are more likely to hit. As well as trade-in works really well with these dangers to get extra pops and free pluses. Trade-in also works really well with Gizmek. We've got 1 Dino Wrestler Pankratops, just a great going second card. You know, it's just like a staple if you're playing going second deck. Right. Okay, so we've talked about these synergies here. The next really key card in this deck is Interrupted Kaiju Slumber, because a lot of decks right now are not worried about this card. For example, you could say Zodiac from Phantom Rage. You know, this card is a total blot against Zodiac because they're trying to end on AA-Zeus, right? But you just slumber them and you get basically you wipe their board and get a level 8, and you get a kaiju on your future turn. So I recommend maxing out on your kaijus. It just makes it more consistent. There's a lot of banishing happening in this deck, so you want to make sure that you have kaijus to use with your Slumber. That's another reason why I'm running 6 kaijus. Okay, so Slumber, really, really cool. You can also banish it. Don't forget to add a kaiju from your deck to your hand. It can be really, really important and can make the difference between a win or a loss. Okay, next, Monster Reborn. Really, really, really strong in this deck. Because we're not playing D-Shifter, so this card's live a lot more, and a lot of times you need that extra power in this deck, so I really, really like it. Then we've got 3 Pot of Desires, just complete staple in Gren Maju. 3 Super Polymerization. I like this card right now. I'm a big believer that if Super Poly is good, Gren Maju is good, and again, this is the perfect quote-unquote Gren Maju deck, and so you're going to run 3 Super Poly in it as well. So really, really good. We've got 3 Trade-In. Trade-In I like a lot because you can discard, your Bigfoots, your Thunderbirds, your extra kaiju. Sometimes you have too many kaijus, you don't need them. Sometimes you got too many alphas, you don't need them. Oh, you just discard a Gizmek, you just basically activate a Pot of Greed right there. Really, really strong in this deck. One thing that the release of Alpha has allowed us to do is it has allowed us to play Trade-In much, much more consistently because there are so many level 8s. Let's count them. We've got 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18 level 8s. Almost half our deck is level 8s, so really, really cool. Trade-In becomes really, really powerful if you do that, right? Don't forget also Slumber can search level 8s, so technically you have a few more there as well. Okay, last card, Harpy's Feather Duster. This one, depends on your metagame. I just like it because decks have just 1 or 2 back rows, even if they're not playing like back row heavy decks, and this card can still trade 1 for 1. Sometimes, however, you get lucky, you bring it in against a deck that's running back rows, boom, hey, just 2 for 1 them, right? 3 for 1 them. Game's basically over. So that's why I do that. We're going to talk about the extra deck, or the side deck soon, but I think it's important to take a look at the extra. We've got some new cards here. Invoked Elysium, a good super plug target against Shadol Invoked, Dogmatica Invoked, whatever invoked. Just use that. Mud Dragon, very generic. Prank Kids, with the release of Phantom Rage, we've got this new card, Prank Kids Meow Meow. That's one of the reasons why I'm running Super Poly, is to fuse away, into one of these fusions, fuse away their Prank Kids, because this takes any 2 Prank Kids monsters. So that's why I have this here. We got Salamangreat Violet Chimera for your Salamangreat plays. You could sub this out for Earth Golem and Ignister, but I prefer the level 8 to help with the rank 8 plays. And then a Starving Venom Fusion Dragon, just the most generic Super Poly target. Okay, we've actually got 2 new things. I'm going to swap this one over here really quick. We've got Dingirsu and this number 84 Pain Gainer Negalogia AA-Zeus engine. So for those of you that don't know how this works is, well, of course, Negalogia AA-Zeus, or we call it AA-Zeus Sky Thunder or whatever in the TCG. Basically, you can summon Dingirsu, send a card, attack with it. Main phase 2, you can overlay into Pain Gainer and then Zeus, and then you'll have a 4 material Zeus that you can field wipe twice with. So really, really cool strategy there. Of course, we still have the Draglubian Numeron Hope Harbinger engine. That's the other rank 8 engines. We got a lot of rank 8 engines here. Numeron Dragon for the OTKs, Draglubian for the body with the Hope Harbinger. And then we've got the Sanafon, the Sky Prison as well. Really, really nice card just to stop graveyard strategies. Although I will say they're not as meta prevalent right now. You could look to swap this out for a Lancelot, the Dark Knight Underworld, another rank 8 that has a negate, plus it can attack directly, that sort of thing. That's up to you, really. Another thing, this can go into Pain Gainer as well as go into Zeus later. However, if you detach a material, you only have a 3 material Zeus anyway with Pain Gainer, but still could be good because, if something's destroyed, you can attach a material to this. So that's something to think about. For our links, we have 1 Nightmare Phoenix, 1 Nightmare Cerberus. Sorry, I guess I said these backwards, but hey, whatever. Just your standard generic links. They come up every once in a while, and so it's good to have them in my opinion. Okay, let's take a look at the side deck. First, we're going to just start off with the 3 Twin Twister. Pretty good against Prank Kids, against other back row decks. The reason it's good against Prank Kids, and that's why I have these guys out, is this card, Prank Kids Pandemonium. During the main phase, and that's the key, when it says during the main phase, if you are able to standby phase or draw phase Twin Twisters against Prank Kids, then usually they just won't be able to do anything. So hopefully that's a tip that comes up. Also just good against random decks. Now I'm trying something new with this side deck here, and actually I like it a lot, and this is this Trap Trick side deck. Now you're going to be forced to go first a lot with this deck, and very rarely do you have cards that are just horrible in matchups. Maybe Super Poly is. So if you're forced to go first, you can put in these normal traps along with some Trap Trick to get you more consistently to your side deck cards that really, really it creates a massive consistency boost in seeing your side deck cards. Because, for example, any matchup, if one of these traps works, then it's basically like you have 6 of these traps. If 2 of these traps work, it's basically like you have 9 of these traps. So one of the new cards, this one's actually called Banquet of the Millions in Phantom Rage, and I thought this card was maybe gimmicky at first. However, this has a lot of applications in this meta. For example, if you're playing against Dragon Link and you're forced to go first, or any sort of deck in the future, even some sort of, Salamangreat or other decks will fold to just like 12 or 10 banish, like they won't be able to play. However, I do find myself banishing my entire extra deck a lot with this card for the reason of, like, I'm playing against Dogmatica and Vote. They activate Nadir's Servant, and then boom, I flip over this card, I banish their entire extra deck, and they can't even resolve that card. Same with activating Invocation or Shadows or anything like that. It also does power up your Gren Maju. So one tip I would have if you're siding it in feedback, you definitely want to side out Eater of Millions because you're very likely to draw Banquet of the Millions in this case. That's what it's called now. So I would recommend siding out Eater of Millions if you're putting this card in. So for example, if you're playing against a matchup where Super Poly and Eater is not very good, you can put these 6 cards in. Otherwise, you can take out 3 Eater and something else, right? Different Dimension Ground, just a really fantastic card at stopping decks in their tracks going first. Again, you combine it with the Trap Trick, really, really common to draw. Now, Ice Dragon's Prison. I was thinking about one more trap I could put in, and I was listening to my friend Bailey's deck, who made a Zodiac deck, and he said Ice Dragon's Prison is a total blowout card, and I have to agree with him. This is sort of like There Can Be Only One, but in a normal trap version. It's pretty good at going second as well if you draw it later in the game. So for example, if you're playing against a deck like Dragon Link, and you're not sure if you're going to go first or second, this is a great card to put in instead of these guys, because this card can just, even if you're going second, if you're able to break Dragon Link board, then setting this card is going to basically seal the game if you're able to break their board. So Ice Dragon's Prison, one of my favorite cards to play along with Trap Trick, and it goes along with this Trap Trick board. So that's a really cool idea. I remember when Banquet of the Millions was revealed, I had this Trap Trick board idea, and I think this Ice Dragon's Prison also helps our Trap Trick side deck. So guys, let me know what you think about my deck. Let me know what you guys are doing for your Gren Maju decks. I know Phantom Rage was a really, really cool set. We got 2 new cards to play with. This is my current version. So let me know, guys. I know you guys have a lot of Gren Maju ideas of your own, so hopefully you can share them with me in the comments below. But until next time, guys, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.